Hello, people. I'm here with my friend, Mr. Henriquez. He's in the Netherlands. He's an awesome teacher. So, how are you, my friend?
Hello, I'm Mr. Henriquez, and I'm from the Netherlands. I'm good. I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm great now that I'm talking to you. I could see that you like applied linguistics. Could you tell the audience how important that is?
Well, I did my master's degree in applied linguistics, and applied linguistics is, of course, the core element of second language acquisition and second language learning. So basically, applied linguistics is the field of linguistics that covers second language acquisition. I think it mostly focused on second language acquisition, but it also looks at the influence of the first language on the second language. And that's how basically applied linguistics combines lots of areas of linguistics and puts it together into second language learning.
Well, your channel is amazing.
Thank you.
I could see some content of yours. When did you decide that you would like to be an English teacher?
When I was about 15 years old, I was in my third year of secondary school. Here in the Netherlands, we have something called Atheneum, which is kind of like pre-university education. And I had an amazing English teacher at secondary school, and I thought, well, this is actually kind of nice to teach English. With my mother being a native speaker, I thought, well, why not dive into what English is and where it's from and how to teach it the best way it is, how to teach it the best way possible.
How is it to be an English teacher now?
I think it's lots of fun. I always say, and I always tell to my own students that English is the most important subject in school. And then they always go like, no, it's not. We have maths and we have science and we have economics. But then I say, okay, well, those are also very interesting topics. But if you're not able to study in English, you can't study. Because we're moving towards a society in which English plays a way more important role than it did 10 and 15 years ago. We even have a word in Dutch to describe this phenomena, the kind of, if you like, Englishization of the Dutch universities. And the Dutch word is verengelsing, so that's a nice fact. Because lots of our universities are turning towards English. They're teaching in English. We have many courses which are only available in English. So that's why I think English is the most important subject at school at the moment.
I agree with you. We can speak English anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
English is mostly communication. Out of the 4 abilities of English, which one do you think is the most important, or which ones?
That's a very good question. I think reading is the most important skill to know, both because without reading you wouldn't be able to study, and you need to be able to understand a text. But I also think that writing is very important. I think being a good writer is a skill. I think being a good writer helps being a good speaker and a good reader as well, because then you understand the text. So I think writing is also very important. Being intelligible.
Yeah. I think intelligibility is key. Do you have any moments in your career that you can forget?
Yeah, I had my first official class, and I had this group for about a year. It was my internship, and on the final class, one of the pupils came to me and said, I was saying goodbye to them, and he looked at me and said, "You are a very good English teacher. I've learned a lot from you." And I thought that was very touching. He was honest, he was sincere, and I think I'll never forget that.
This is priceless. Which is the best approach to learn English on our own?
On our own. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's an important detail.
Yeah.
I think that both on our own and in class, exposure is definitely key. When I think of my own students, the best students are the ones who game, or the ones who watch Netflix, or the ones who read a lot. And both on your own and in class, exposure is key. Being exposed to English as much as possible in many different varieties of language use, in different scenes, different instances. I think the more exposure you have, the better your language will be, and the better your language development will be.
Do you think that when a student wants to learn English is different from when their parents want them to learn English?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you want to learn English, you'll be open to looking at different things and dive into extra depths. Whereas if your parents want you to do it, well, then you'll do it because your parents want you to do it. And everything is less fun if your parents want you to do it, right?
Yes. Yes. What would be the advice that you would give my audience to keep studying English?
So I would say that see English as a tool to get somewhere else. Don't let learning English be the only goal you have. Let it be the tool to something else. So let's say that you want to travel the world. Well, let English be your language that you can use while traveling the world. Because English opens a lot of opportunities for other people, for other markets, for other countries, for other viewers, subscribers, whatever you're doing. And I think looking at English in that way as a tool to achieve something bigger than learning another language, I think that's motivation to keep studying.
What made you do YouTube?
Well, coronavirus. It might be a bit, it might be a bit cliche, but I was teaching. We had a lockdown for a year, and I was teaching at school again. And then around September, October, November, our government started to experiment, if you like, with the word lockdown again. So they said, well, there might be a new lockdown and we might get into lockdown. And then I thought, well, we're not going to go down that road again unprepared. So I thought, if I would start a YouTube channel with my grammar explanations or whatever I had to do in class, I would be prepared for the second lockdown. And then it came, and I was, fortunately.
Yes.
I was able to experiment with flipping the classroom and blended learning. But then I saw the opportunities YouTube has. And I've learned a lot over the past year. I've been doing YouTube for a year now, and I've learned a lot about video editing, photo editing, marketing, Instagram, how to teach things as short as possible, how to create good blended learning opportunities. I learned the word niche, what a niche is. I think my niche is still somewhere in development because, I'm experimenting with different things. I have my writing videos, my book videos, my videos on Happier Than Ever. So I need to find what my real niche is.
Yes. You're doing a great job with your channel. And how can you come up with these ideas? How is your creative process?
Well, when I started YouTube, I didn't know anything about something called a niche. I thought you put a video on there and, if it turns out great, then you'll be popular and get rich. But as soon as I got into more, it became a more serious project for me, I realized that people need to find you. And I told Zednik today as well, because we had a quick chat about Discord. And I said, well, our market is so saturated. There are so many English teachers and there are so many good English teachers. Find something that's different in this market of English teachers. So sometimes I'm cooking or I'm at the gym or I'm swimming and I get an idea of a video like the lyrics video where I thought, everybody knows present simple, present continuous, and we can explain it forever, but where does it appear in the real world?
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought, well, why not have a look at music? Especially with a song that's very interesting, like Happier Than Ever. I think that's one of the best songs of the year, both in music and in lyrics and in video clips. So, you know, she's done an amazing job with Happier Than Ever, and it has so many things to look at. So it wasn't a punishment to analyze the song.
And how long does it take you to elaborate and record a video?
It depends on the type of video it is. If it's something like my present simple video, I mean, the recording was 20 minutes, but then I thought, you know, I got some feedback from other creators who said, well, try to make it a bit more interesting. So then I need to dive into things like After Effects to create all the effects, and that takes a lot of time. Because then I have an idea of what I want. For example, I want text to pop up or swipe up, or I want highlighters here and there. And then I need to learn how to make those highlighters. Yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes it takes me 8 hours to edit something as well. I think that you have this quality of engaging people because of linguistics. So I think that's something that you can explore more. How different or how difficult was it to go to online teaching? It wasn't difficult on the technical side because, you know, I was familiar with Teams. I was familiar with Microsoft OneNote, for example, something that I had been using years before lockdown. So the tools were there. I was able to set up everything within a day, and my students knew how to get where. So that was not a difficulty. What I thought was particularly difficult was the fact that students especially I was teaching teenagers, and these teenagers here in Holland, they don't like turning on their cameras. I think that's a teenager thing. So, you know, I was looking at a blank screen filled with black squares. With names, and although you know, I started the same way. I also didn't turn on my camera because I thought, well, I'm in my house, so that's weird. But at some point I thought, you know, let's get dressed and let's open up the camera to make it a bit more interesting. So I thought, and I really missed the interaction thing, right? When someone when someone makes a joke, then you can react on that joke, and you can respond, and you can do something with the joke.
Yes. Do you think this pandemic has come to us to also demystify distance learning or not?
I think it definitely had its benefits in regard to distance learning. I think if I look at my colleagues, my older colleagues, which is of course not a bad thing, right? Older teachers have lots of experience, and they know a lot about teaching and classroom management. But they're not very good with technology and, you know, distant learning. So it really forced nearly everyone to rethink the way they teach.
Yes, totally.
I saw that with many of my colleagues who really had to think, okay, how am I going to teach French or German or maths or even Dutch classes online? Because, you know, and I took the approach of blended learning with having some sort of lecture or a video and doing activities in class.
Yes.
And I think the most important thing I hope my students have learned is responsibility. That if I would say, okay, we're not going to do 50 minutes of me watching you do an assignment. We're going to do 10 minutes of interactive content, 5 minutes of video, and then you produce something. Then I want you to write this essay. Then I want you to create this page or this profile or whatever we're doing. And I noticed that some people found this very easy and others had difficulty because, you know, it wasn't tangible in the sense that I said, well, the deadline is tomorrow morning, so do whenever you like to do it. And some, of course, weren't able to handle this amount of freedom, so they did it at the last moment and it was poor. But I think the pandemic really shifted education around. We were all very glad to go back to school. I know that everyone was happy to be in the classroom again. But I know I let go of the frontal teaching, of me being the person telling everything and the students just sitting there doing nothing. I really engaged and embraced basically this concept of blended learning, of, you know, let's use our class time let's use every minute of our class time to be interactive and be creative and think of something. So that's how it influenced and how it influenced my teaching, and also what I saw with my own teachers, but then with my own colleagues. Unfortunately, many of them went back to the frontal teaching as soon as we got back to school. So that was kind of a pity, I think.
I agree with you. And one last question. What is your opinion about non-native teachers of English around the world?
Well, you know, I know that some schools here in Holland tend to hire native speakers under the sense of that's a good teacher because the language is authentic, the language is real world language, pronunciation is excellent, but a native speaker doesn't make someone a good teacher. And I think that non-native teachers, you know, I think it's fine if you're a good teacher, be the teacher. You know, if you're aware of the fact that your language needs work, I know that my language needs work a lot of times. My pronunciation is sometimes off. I don't know all the words because I'm not a dictionary, of course. So I'm aware of that. And as long as you're a non-native teacher who is aware of your pitfalls, basically,
yeah, of course,
I think you can be an excellent teacher. Especially if you have fun teaching, you have fun, you know, with the kids, with the children, with the students. Yeah, why not be a good teacher? I think it's more useful than being a bad teacher who is a native speaker.
I agree with you, and if you allow me to put my 2 cents in,
sure.
I think that teaching is passion.
Yeah.
Teaching is not a passport.
No.
Teaching is passion, devotion, dedication, preparation. I teach a foreign language every day. I speak English much more than I speak Portuguese because I teach from 8 in the morning up to 9 at night.
Wow.
Something that I really like was the chance that I had to do my master's in teaching English as a foreign language in Spain. I can teach general English everywhere. That for me is magical, if you know what I mean. So I think technology really helps. Only 5% of the Brazilian population speaks English.
Oh, yeah. Do you guys have English at school?
We do. If you want to learn English in Brazil at school, forget it. You have to have a private course, you know?
Wow. If I look at our country, I know that we're very Americanized. So everyone has Netflix. Everyone watches English television. And it used to be British English, but we're definitely, I think, since the 1990s, moving away from British English to American English. And Netflix definitely had a large influence on this as well.
It was a game changer.
Yeah,
it was
Netflix a game changer. Yeah, I totally agree. Is it the same in Brazil?
Yes. But let me tell you something. Most of my students, they like to watch dubbed movies.
Oh, yeah.
I say, please watch with subtitles or captions. When I was studying English in the 80s and the 90s, we only had cassette tapes, CDs, and the VHSs.
Yeah.
And no Google. But I can't complain because I think that cemented the learning very much, you know, after you learn something. So
I think many opportunities now because of this, because we, you know, if you would teach at secondary school, I would say, well, give me your students and I will give you my students. And, you know, let's create some sort of
an exchange an exchange program. Yes, I would talk with you for 2 or 3 hours because I think we have the same mindset. Now we're gonna play the rapid round game. English for me is
my mother's language.
Teaching English for me is
like a hobby.
Traveling is
enjoying the plane ride.
The Netherlands.
Home country.
The most beautiful word in English for me is
challenge.
Nice. Henriquez on Henriquez.
So I would define myself as someone who is always looking for new challenges, who wants to challenge myself, who wants to challenge other people. So basically, Jordan Peterson's fourth rule: compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
Awesome. Awesome. Now it's your turn. I'm in the hot seat.
So the Netherlands is
wonderful, and I want to be there someday.
Cool. You're always happy to visit, of course, if you're here.
Thank you so much.
Christmas is?
Christmas is dazzling.
Cool. Your favorite, all-time favorite movie is?
Forrest Gump.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. The best book I've ever read is?
The Hate You Give.
The Hate You Give. Okay, that's a good one. I'm working on a video series on The Hate You Give. And your all-time go-to song is?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I think If Tomorrow Never Comes.
Okay. That's a very nice song.
Okay.
I also wanted to ask you, what's the best way to learn English? But I think we share the same idea. So, but still, let's see.
The best way to learn English is by having consistency, devotion, and passion for the language.
Yeah, you know? I totally agree.
Because without consistency and devotion and passion that moves you, that makes you go forward, you don't learn anything.
No.
If you tell me to see something in English, I have all the time in the world. But if you tell me to do something that I don't like, I'll never have time. For English, I make time, or I find time.
Yeah, usually when I'm watching a film with my girlfriend and I hear a nice construction or I hear a word in a particular context, I always need to get out my phone and look it up on the internet in the dictionary.
I do the same.
Put away your phone.
Notes and notes and notes and notes, you know. We have come to an end.
Unfortunately.
And for every guest, I have a sentence, a quote, a takeaway. And for you is Ubuntu, which is I am because we are.
Oh, yeah.
You know, nobody does anything alone. Your job is amazing. Thank you for the interview.
Yeah. Thank you for the very kind words.
This was my friend Henriquez. He's a great guy, and I hope he comes to Brazil to visit me someday. Thank you. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hello, it's Rod's friend here, Gino from Real Everyday English. Sorry for interrupting your video. I just want to make a quick recommendation that you subscribe to Rodrigo's channel. He's an amazing guy. He's so humble. He's so dedicated. And he creates absolutely fantastic content. See you people soon. Bye-bye. God bless.